Good morning, United Kingdom. Good morning, and welcome back to another session of the Drive Time live with Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, and the alternative property and business solutions community. We are changing the format, so please everybody be looking out for the new banner to let everybody know where we are moving across all of the ABS group as well as the Drive Time live sessions. So today, as usual, we have our guest, Mr. Singh Johar. After many weeks, I have missed him. I've been a bit busy as well, but we finally have him today. So without further ado, let's have Sir Ninder on front stage. Good morning, G. How you doing?
Listen, you're looking very trendy with that blue T-shirt.
Keep up.
I tell you.
Sorry.
We're missing the cap, because with the cap you have a certain.
Yeah, I got rid of that. They said, look, you're looking too hip, and I said, well, I don't know how to rap, and I definitely don't know how to dance. So I thought better keep it more sober. But how are you doing? Good now.
More corporate, more befitting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. How are you doing?
Yeah, fine. And one of your colleagues asked me, what's the weather like? And I know I said Friday, it's drizzling. So
drizzling, yeah. I think you're out in sunny Midlands, aren't you? Are you in the Midlands today?
Yeah, Birmingham.
West Brom, is it Birmingham? Where?
Birmingham, and it's drizzling.
Drizzling. Okay. Well, the topic for the saying of the weekend is life's a bit like a movie, I think. Is that what it is? Yes, it's a bit like a movie. So keep read the script, I think. What is it? Read the script. Right. Okay. So write your own script. Keep and keep believing. Something like that. Okay. So that's generally the same for the weekend. Okay.
Sorry.
You're breaking up, Linda.
Yeah, we missed.
You're breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, we missed a bit of what you said. You said something like "keep believing." Was that the term?
Yeah, keep believing and keep. What's it now? Keep. That's right. That's apparently what it's supposed to be. So it's a bit like a movie. Keep believing and keep pretending. Sounds a bit morbid. Yeah. So well, I don't know whoever got the saying of the weekend, but yes. Okay. And we're saying the topic again is how to set up your own business. Is that right? That's right, self-employed business. Well, Linda, you're a bit of a mover and a shaker in your world. What's it? What's happening in the events? Industry. Has it picked up? Are you now planning for 22? Or is 21 going to be your kickoff year?
We're just waiting for announcement from the government, because as of the 21st of June, we were looking for complete open up. And of course, the Indian variant caused a few problems.
Yeah.
But if they can take care of the Indian variant, my first event could be as close as September in London at the Park Lane.
Excellent.
Could be
right. September.
Yeah, September the 5th. It's on a Friday night, and it's at the Hilton, Park Lane Hilton.
Wow. Okay, Park Lane Hilton. That's around the corner from our offices. So,
it'd be good.
I think you said you had about 4 different events in you. One was supposed to be London. One was going to be, was it Wolverhampton, which is quite a. One was Leicester. Then after what?
Leicester, and then Birmingham.
Birmingham, right. So you're doing a UK tour first.
Well, we normally do, you're right. And then we were hoping not next year, but the year after, to go into Manchester and Leeds as well.
So you're going to become a bit more international then the following year.
Well, let's see how it works out. Let's see how it works out.
Okay, and what's the core element of the events then? What are you doing in them? Is it the same format as before, or is it different?
Yeah. No. It's for networking. It's for learning from a keynote speaker, and it's generally just networking amongst your peers, but learning. And also we celebrate the best of business, so we give some awards out as well to those who've done something.
Okay, you know, the people who are attending, I mean, I understand. I mean, I've been to a few events. I've not gone to loads of events. I've been to a few. I normally find them without purpose because there's so many people there. You can pack a hall in, but most people are sort of lost sheep. Never seems to be a clear focus, except listen to keynote speakers. But does that help anybody, Linda? Does it actually do anything for anyone?
Okay, so I think, as with anything in life, you need to have a plan as to what you're doing and why you're doing it. So if you're coming to one of my events, the first question you need to ask yourself, why am I going?
Yeah.
So it's all around the why. And I think if you're looking to connect with other people, then yeah. If you're looking to meet people from other sectors, from other parts of the country, then yeah. If you're looking to learn something from the keynote speaker, then yes. If you want to go and see who's the best in their field and is up for an award, then yes. If you're up for learning how the world is changing day by day and want to learn more, then yes. It depends on what your yes is, and it depends on what your why is. And as with anything in life, just don't do things for the sake of it. Always ask yourself, why am I doing this?
Is it a paid event or is it free?
No, it's a paid event. It's a paid event.
Paid event. Okay, so you got someone come. How many hours is the event for?
It runs from about 6 o'clock till about midnight.
6 o'clock till about 8 or 9. So you got 3 hours.
No.
Now,
Vijay,
midnight, right? 6 hours, right? So 6 hours. Can you really learn anything? Can you really take anything away? I mean, why would you not just listen to that keynote speech on the internet? Why would you need to drive all the way down to an event just to listen to someone?
Okay, that's if that's all you have in mind. But remember, when you're in a room with 500-600 people, in that room could be your next client. In that room could be somebody who could connect you to somebody else. And so what we try and offer is a multi-dimensional aspect to the event. So you don't just go for networking. You can. There's some great food as well, and there's some great entertainment, but also there's some great opportunity to learn. So lots of and people come for different reasons. Some people come for the networking. Some people come to listen to the key network. Some people like to be seen in the room and meet people they normally during the year can't get hold of.
Yeah, but how does the event allow you to get hold of them? I mean, so you got 500 people in the room. Let's suppose you've got Prince Charles turn up. Yes. Now you're hardly going to get, like a private audience with Prince Charles because he's come to the event because it's only 6 hours. He's a keynote speaker. He's turned up. He's going to do his keynote speech. He's going to be maybe mix and mingle for about half an hour. He's going to go away. How are 500 people going to get his attention? How does it work?
Okay. So if you know, and that's an example, if you know that Prince Charles is going to be there, you would be able to work out that there's going to be some other important people in the room as well. It's going to be
right.
Somebody of that caliber is going to be there. Then other people of equally high caliber will be in the room. So you go because you might bump into one of those other people as well. Because normally the people we invite to our event, you don't normally see them at many events. So we tend to focus on the movers and the shakers and the people who are influential. And that's why the name of the magazine we came out with, it was called The Business Influencer, because
that's right.
It's all about influence. It's all about networking. It's all about making sure your personal brand is out there, and making sure that when somebody wants to buy whatever you sell, they remember you or think of you first before they think of anyone else. So it's all about personal branding. It's all about networking. It's all about learning. It's all about getting out. We can all stay at home 9 to 5, watch videos, but that won't get us very far.
Okay. So are you saying you do a sponsorship model? So you've got certain people who've got their companies and their logos and brands up on the stadium, around, etc. And you charge them to put their logos out. Is that right?
Yeah, and the reason they do that is because...
Okay. So is that really the person who's... Pardon?
Yeah, I was going to say the reason why they do that is because they know in the room...
Pardon?
They know in the room there are people who potentially...
Can't hear you.
Ah. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. So those people who sponsor do so because they want people in the room, the 500 people in the room, to recognize their brand. And when they make a purchase, then for the very same reason, they think of them first. And it's another form of placing your brand in front of people. You can advertise on TV or adverts in magazines, or you can sponsor events like mine.
Okay. And is this sponsorship available to upstarts and newbies, or is it just for recognized brands? Or what type of people do you allow sponsorship?
No, it's available to those who've got something and a message to say. I try and make sure that whoever does come on board, that their brand sits with our brand. So there are probably going to be some don't take on, but also that they're ready to act on anything that comes from the branding exercise. So we don't just willy-nilly give it to anyone. We do look at people who we think it's that sits well with what we do.
Yeah. Okay, so when you say sits well with what you do, so what is that you do as an events company?
Okay,
that is your sort of like ethos, or what is it?
If our room is full of entrepreneurs, people full of high network, then the brand really is going to sit with that kind of clientele. So example, if somebody who's selling cannabis, as they do in America, came to me and said, "Can we take a sponsorship?" I'd sort of say, "Well, I don't think it really quite fits with what we do. Maybe you need to go and talk to someone else."
Right.
So I mean, that's an example of a brand. So I think there's only a certain sort of types of brands that would want to try and reach out to our audience. So I think it's almost self-selecting. It self-selects itself. Anybody who's in the B2B, that's business to business space, who look to sell to high network individuals or entrepreneurs or business owners, they're the ones who tend to come to us. So it could be accountants, listers, banks, luxury brands, those kind of things. So
okay. So what about the bulk of the attendees then? Who are they? What have you got, a ready-made database? Are you open? Is it like just an email marketing campaign or a electronic campaign? And whoever books a seat turn up. A bit like the what's it now? What's his the American gentleman? What's his name? For his name now, the guy who does the NLP stuff, very famous. Everyone knows. Yeah, Robbins, that's right. Is it that type of thing? You can turn up, you get free attendees, but you also get people who pay for their seats, and they get a full gift pack, and they take it. What type of people is it that you actually attract?
Yeah, it tends to be entrepreneurs and business owners. Entrepreneurs, business owners, and people in business, and people who got a brand to get out. So it's
okay. So it's not going to be startups, then, is it? It's not going to be people who are trying to set up business.
Well, some people do come who are either thinking of starting up or early stage startups. So they're keen to get their brand out, and they're keen to bump into the right people. I always say to people, network with people you want to do business with in 5 years' time. So get to know them now, so that in 5 years' time, you can start to work with them. Because it doesn't happen day one. So always when you're networking and branding, think about who you want to be talking to in 5 years' time and work towards that goal.
Okay, so what's the difference then between your event and a trade exhibition then? Because trade exhibitions are about the same. They have people, their stalls there, they pay for the stall, they actually have full paraphernalia, they actually have people there you can go and talk to, ask questions of, they'll take your details, you can follow up with them. When you've got 500 people in the room and you think you're going to bump into people, how do you know the right? I mean, I'm just going to, I'm the type of person who just bump into everyone, especially if they're blonde, good looking, and, worth bumping into. But I'm not going to get any work out of them, or work out of them, or whether they'll get work out of me. I don't understand what bumping in means. Can you explain that to me then?
Yes. So when you come to our event, there's normally a table plan, and on the table plan there's attendees. And what we tend to get at our event is the people who own the business. They tend to be there. Where at an exhibition, they might be sending their staff. So in the exhibition, you may not meet the actual decision maker. Whereas at our event, you're likely to meet the decision maker who's going to be in the room.
So you're likely to meet the decision maker in your event, whereas in a trade exhibition, you're only going to meet their representatives. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but potentially, not always, but potentially. And I think secondly, trade exhibitions tend to be focused on a sector. So it could be a marketing trade exhibition, it could be a manufacturing trade exhibition, it could be one on travel. So it tends to be pretty specific. Whereas at our event, it's cross-sector, quite wide, and you tend to get a general feel of how the economy is doing, because the room represents sort of the economy. Whereas exhibitions tend to be pretty specific. And they're excellent. They're excellent if you're interested in that specific industry, in that specific sector.
Okay, doesn't it get more confusing then if it's just? I mean, okay, you're saying it's a table event. Excellent. How do you assist the attendees then in trying to find their way to the right type of person, or sort of like make a cue to bump into someone at the right time? And how does it work? Are you giving them time in between having something to eat to go and start mixing and mingling? Are you introducing the individuals and say, look, table 20, you've got a gentleman club there, and they are looking for membership, and they're also looking for people to work for them. So if anybody's got a handful of smart-looking people who want to get into the gentleman's entertainment industry, they can go to table 20 and pay. On table 21, you've got an old people's home. Anybody want to get to find out about what old people's homes are about, or residential homes are about, you can go there. I mean, how do you do that? How do you get, because 6 hours, how are you going to direct people to the right person to bump into? Because obviously that's going to be a bit of a storm, isn't it, when you've got 500 attendees and you're saying it's a cross section. So you could be sitting right next to a person who is exactly who you're looking for, but if you don't know who they are, and they're also an attendee and they're also looking for somebody else, how do you do it? Do you sort of like nudge people? Do you manage
No.
the event?
No, because the event is quite tight in terms of lots of things are happening. If I was sitting next to you, and I don't even say hello to you all evening and don't ask you what you do, well, that's my fault, isn't it? Because I'm sitting right next to you.
All right, so there's some etiquettes of networking that have to be done. Do most people have those etiquettes?
Well, I tend to believe that those who come to an event know what an event's about. And remember back to my question, why are you going? What's your reason for it? And so most people who walk through that door and pay £200, £250 know why they're walking through that door. And they're walking because they know there's going to be people in the room that they probably would never bump into or would have difficulty getting hold of. They're going into the room because they want other people to see them and potentially approach them. They go into that room because they remember the same people attended last year and it's a good way of saying hello. They'll attend the room because there's potentially in the room somebody, and if they look at the table plan, somebody they can go and say hello to and say, listen, this is my business card. This is what we do. It'd be great to catch up. They might want to go in the room because from the keynote speaker who's probably excelled in their field, they may pick something up. You're right, they can get it from a video, assuming they're on a video and have been on a video. But the chance of saying hello to someone on a video is pretty remote. Whereas if there's an opportunity, you could go up to them during the evening, say, that was great, thank you very much, here's my card. So it's a lot more person to person, which is exactly what hasn't happened during COVID. And most people are telling me, because of COVID, they've not really developed new business relationships because they've not had the opportunity to bump into people, go to see them one-to-one. And most people will tell you that in terms of business development, B2B, COVID has led to a pause. You've just simply pressed a pause because reaching out to somebody cold without having met them or somebody else pointed them is quite difficult. And I think that's the events. I think events.
Okay, so I'm gonna take that part of your answer, COVID. So we have had lots of calls as well. We've been talking to lots of different sectors of industry. A lot of people aren't really, or businesses, when you talk about B2B, businesses themselves are on a pause button. So they are quite confused themselves about how to start again. You know, when you've been put on pause by force, by government, you had a fast pause put on you, and you've been given a trickle, a bit of money from, you know, a bounce back loan or a CBIL, and you're sitting there and you're still uncertain about the future, and you've laid off all these people. You don't even know if you can start again properly because you don't know if it's going to be another lockdown. Are they really going to be looking for business, or are they going to be looking for a reason to restructure or something? I mean, does that topic itself determine the type of keynote speakers you're going to have and the general theme of an event? Do you have a theme for an event, or is it just, you know, keynote speakers, everything goes? If you can bump into people, excellent. If you know you recognize important people, if you can throw them your card, excellent. Do you have a theme for the event? You know, like for example, you know, you may be an idea that the event will have lots of B2Bs there, but they'll have B2Bs who are still confused and they're trying to work out how to restructure their businesses to make them futuristic, or at least COVID friendly, or, you know, lockdown friendly, or whatever you want to call it. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I think for the next 12 months, it certainly is helping businesses to understand the roadmap to recovery. I think recovery and people are in different stages of recovery. Some people have started to recover. Some people, particularly in the events game, will now be opening up for the first time. Those in hospitality started last week, and by the time September comes, they should be operating well. Those in the travel industry have just started to open up. Those in financial and legal have been sort of operating in the background, working from home, and maybe they're coming back together. And people in manufacturing are now coming up to capacity. And of course, what we do know is inflation's coming because demand is outstripping supply. We know that, and that was going to happen. So what does that mean for businesses? Furlough comes to an end in September. What does that mean for businesses? The BBLs and the COVID and CBILs have started being paid. Have they got the cash flow to pay that now? And how are they projecting the future cash flows? What does the high street look like? And if you're a retailer, what does that mean for you? And of course, if you're in tech, which is the place to be, then this increasing trend towards digitization, what does that mean for bricks and mortar businesses? And what does that mean for people in the tech space? And of course, NASDAQ took a bit of a battering in the US because of inflation's going up. And of course, listen, and it's not for today, but cryptocurrency has been dominating the headlines today. What does that mean for the economy? What does that mean for the retailer? You know, and what does it mean for speculators and people who invest in assets? Should they take money out of property or the equity markets and put it into crypto? Listen, that's just me giving you just a few things on an agenda that businesses want to know. And what we're hoping of the next 12 months is to give some clarity for businesses, either to a keynote speaker or people speaking to each other in the room and saying, this is what the roadmap looks like. A lot of uncertainty and a lot of moving parts.
Okay. Well, talking about uncertainty and talking about giving people directions, the topic, or I think today's topic is setting up, your own business or working from home or being self-employed. And this goes back to the fact that there's a big trend for people to start working from home. And like you said, the tech industry, so tech can cover any type of work which involves the use of technology or social media, and strips out all the traditional overheads you'd normally have when you're doing business. For example, you go to a shop in the high street normally to buy, let's suppose, clothes. Oh, do you need to do that anymore when you know that the clothes that you're buying from the branded stores are all formatted and they're all, in a certain quality and style? Will you need to go and try clothes anymore? Do you want to buy things and then work on the return formula that lots of companies have got? Is it convenient to a lot of people? Do people like to feel and shop and look and touch and have the experience? And are they happy to just shop online and leave the experience? Because a lot of these big supermarket stores, like the what's it called now, the Wakefield, was it now the Westfield stores? They're across the whole of the UK, and they've got they're Australian in nature, and they've got the big shopping store experience thing going on, where you've got the large food and restaurant malls, you've got the restaurant, you've got the cinema hall, you've got all the branded shops. In certain cases, they will allow sort of smaller chains to come in. So, are we saying, that's going to be out? Is that going to be changing? Where's the where does the line get drawn? Is it going to be like the change from the Industrial Revolution to the to the 19th century type of stuff, where steam engines and then Industrial Revolution and then line drawn, and you've then got this vacuum of lots of manufacturing and coal-based economies, and now all of a sudden it's going from there to green energy. Where does the line get drawn? Where will it now change into Buck Rogers of the 21st century type of experience, or will it keep going sort of like gradually into another phase?
But what would be interesting?
What do you say to that?
Yeah, I think it's either end of this week or next week. We'll get the retail figures on what the last quarter has been like. So that will be interesting. We know the shops were pretty busy. We also know that people like to experience things in life, and retail shopping is an experience. We also know that people like to go to events to meet other people, because as human beings, we're engineered to meet and to greet and to socialize. So I think the very things that were on pause during COVID, there will be pent-up demand. And I'm hoping as certainly someone who puts on events that pent-up demand materializes.
Mm-hmm.
There is a question around whether now habits have been formed. So in other words, over the year, we've got used to doing certain things and are reluctant to go back to potentially what we used to do. I think only time will tell. But my personal gut feeling is there'll always be retailers that are quirky, different, something you can't get on the internet, that you will want to go to them. I think the last 12 months has shown you can try to network on the internet, but it's not quite the same as going to real events and meeting real people and seeing real people. And I think tech always has a role.
But don't you feel that people would have lost the ability to network? Don't you think that during COVID and the way it psychologically affected a lot of people, they have possibly lost those social skills to network?
That's a very, very good point. And I've been speaking to a few people who've said that. They said we've forgotten how to greet people properly because we're used to it at home. But then don't forget, for those who we haven't met person to person, we've had to communicate through Zoom and through Teams. So we've still had to do that. The only difference is we've not done it in the room with people. So maybe some of the body language stuff we need to pick up again. But my personal gut feeling is it was a pause button only. And I think by releasing the pause, we now realize the importance of meeting people. We realize the importance of human to human connection. And we notice the importance of experiences. So I think all what the 12 months has done is remind us what we took for granted, which now I think we're going to go back to with much relish because we've missed out so much. We'll be meeting people we haven't. I mean, I tell you what my classic line is when I meet people now. After a year and a bit, I say, "Gosh, you haven't changed. You look the same." Now that's a strange opening comment to make, but that's the opening comment now you all instinctively make because it's been that long since we've met people that we used to meet maybe once or twice a week or even certainly a month. So it's interesting, but I think we were, because of the way the lockdown's been put together, I think we're easing our way in, and I'm hoping, with the exception of the variant, that this is our roadmap to recovery. So recovery is the right word, and the economy is meant to be looking, I think, next year to go back to pre-COVID. And inflation tells you there's a demand for goods. People want to buy goods.
But how do they want to buy goods when they're not making any money? They're on civils and bank BBLs, and they've got sort of furloughs going on. How are you saying people are saving those pounds to spend?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, over those 12 months, people didn't go out to hospitality. People didn't go retail, so that they've built up some savings. And those people will now go out and spend those savings. And we know commodity prices have gone up. We know semiconductor, the chips, they're very difficult to get out of. I read somewhere they could take a year and a half before we get back to regular supply of stuff. So there's a pent-up demand, and suddenly everybody's running to keep up with it. And that's what's led to inflation now. So inflation normally is a good sign of demand exceeding.
So what do you say is going to be the average price of chips and fish on the high street then?
I have no idea, but those chips, I mean, that will be interesting to see the price of potatoes and the price of commodities and how that comes through. But yeah, so everybody's bullish. Everybody's bullish across in America that they had 4.2% inflation. So that tells you the economy.
Bullish. Right, okay.
Yeah, so it's the economy is roaring.
Okay, and I think we've got is Lakhi there? Okay, sorry about that. No, I just thought we've got some news that Lakhi's flown in, so he's probably just getting cleared of customs. He should be available. Right. Okay. So the question is, in your event module or your event function, or the way is it an online booking module? Do people get to book online and book a seat? Is it is it that way? Can they choose what seat they have on what table? Do they rely purely on random allocations? How does it work? I know Richard Branson's going to be at your event. I'm going to want to sit right next to him. Do I have to pay more money for that?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. Most people buy tables, so they bring maybe a company table, or they bring their clients. So the banks will bring their clients. Those who buy 1, 2, 4, 5, or 6 tickets, then we allocate them in a space with 4 other people. So if you don't buy a full table, then that does leave you open to be sitting with people you don't know, which to some people is great because they're meeting new people and by meeting new people, they make new connections. So just to give an
Do
example,
you think people are going to shake hands though? Do you think they're going to be that easy to shake hands with each other now?
Well, that's.
And are you keeping the tables 6 feet apart? Are everyone sitting sort of like on a table that will probably be designed for about 20 people, 6 foot apart or something? Is that what you're doing?
I think we're going to wait till see where we are in September. We'll see what the regulations are. We'll see what the rules are, and that we'll take that from the government. And then once the government tells us what the rules are, we will play to those rules. I think the economy is ready. I think people are ready. There's an air of optimism everywhere. We know property prices have been going up. I've said the retail prices are going up. All of that points to a rapid recovery. And and I think if you're thinking about starting a business, I can't think of a better time as we come out of those sort of low times and we're going into the ups. Now, I launched a magazine right in the middle of COVID, completely in the middle of COVID. And we've now done a deal with American Airlines. We've done a deal with some hotels in the Far East. And as we emerge out of COVID, we're going to be doing deals with 5-star hotels so they can have our magazine. We're going to be doing deals with WH Smith. But that wasn't possible 6 months ago because there was no traffic, no footfall within these retail outlets or in the hotels. So we're seeing the magazine is going to be growing tremendously over the 12 months. And I'm sure I'm not alone. I think other industries and other people will see the same as we emerge out of this lockdown. And of course, what's really important, Vijay, as you know, is the global picture. Because until we get the whole world vaccinated, then these variants are always going to pop up and we're never going to be secure. But I do know, and I think we all know, that the scientists done a fantastic job in getting a vaccine together quickly. And I'm sure they're working with vaccines and coming up with new drugs in anticipation of new variants. So I suspect the way things are going, I don't think we'll ever have another lockdown again because I think the scientists and the science and the technology means they're beginning to stay a step ahead. But when
talking of drugs, we've got a drug in the backstage there. He's turned up, Lakhi Singh, and he'll come in and give us his take on how to start a business in lockdown and whether coming to one of your events is going to be an excellent opportunity for people who are looking to start their businesses and mix with VIPs or people at least who are influencers. So can we have Lakhi Singh on? Is he there? Has he cleared customs? Has probably got one of those diplomatic passports, so doesn't really need to clear customs. But is he here? Right, Lakhi Singh. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you doing? Busy man. Yes, we've got Ninda Singh on after many weeks, or at least I've seen him after many weeks. We've been talking about the lockdown, talking about his events, talking about self-employment or trying to start business. Lots of things from Ninda Singh we've got there about his events that could help people who are looking to meet the right people. And obviously, you've come on. Before we start with Lakhi, we give a shout out to John Smith, Mandy, who else? Lisa, and a funny video on YouTube. I don't know what that means, but anyhow, we've got, is it Sonia? Sonia, Lisa, Mandy, and John, and a funny video on YouTube, which I don't know what that means. So, Lakhi Singh, what have you got to say? Lockdown over. Are you going to be able to shake hands with people? Are you confident enough to walk up to the famous Ninda Singh Johal and ask him if he's got, a record label that you can have?
Well, shaking hands is something still that's going to be an issue if we want to be completely PC. Although I think in business practice, it's a bit weird, people not being able to shake hands. I think a lot of people are still using the elbows at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's a bit difficult to, I think, if you've got an important meeting and you're meeting somebody and they reach their hand out to shake hands with you, I think a lot of people, including myself, find it a bit awkward to have to like move to that when somebody's doing that. So there are a lot of, let's just say, day-to-day practical issues with just trying to get used to a norm in terms of what people should be doing. But I would
Do you
suggest,
think people are going to walk in, 500 people are going to just walk into an events room and feel confident about it?
I think so, yeah. I think a lot of people are literally, they're so frustrated, like being let out of prison. They're basically, it's a bit like going to Woodland for the first time. They just in a bit of wonderment. So I think a lot of people are a bit sort of bemused when they get out or do something now. They're not quite clear about their surroundings, and so I think people, in fact, probably find it even more exciting to go to an event now because it'll be a bit more like a special thing that's not been done for a year. So when people are probably going to psychologically, there's going to be more of an elation that people are going to like going to the amusement park for the first time, I think.
Okay, right, Ninda sir. Okay, so Lucky thinks it's gonna be good news. People are gonna be quiet. Have you been asked to provide particular sort of like services there, like having the filtration machines, the air machines and stuff? Because I think someone was reading an article last week. I can't remember who it was, and she said that that they were asked, or what they'd done had been they had placed in all of their gyms. That's right. It was a lady who was running these Pilates and what's it now, yoga classes, and what they've done is they'd gone out and put in special air filters and stuff like that so that people come back, they can feel a bit more comfortable about coming to the class and sweating with 10, 20 other people without feeling worried about catching something. So have you been asked to, or are you looking at doing something like that, putting special filtration or air filters in or something?
Again, a couple of things. Firstly, we're waiting for, and Lucky, good morning to you. Firstly, we're waiting for advice from the government as to what 21st of June looks like. Subsequent to 21st of June, depending on the advice and the guidance we're given, that will then be a conversation I hold with the venues to sort of say, well, look, if it's a stipulation from the government, what are we going to do? And I think thirdly, a lot of it's to do with messaging. So we should be clear in our events of what precautions and what our expectations are of people who are attending. So I think there's clarity in the messaging, clarity in the marketing, then we should be okay. But all of this, of course, is subject to government guidance, and we can't do anything, but we can start to plan and start to think about what that new environment will look like. And I agree with Lucky. I think it's going to be a strange feeling suddenly being let out and going to mass gatherings. But they're obviously working out in the open because the football matches are now getting populated. And I know about 3 weeks ago, the government did some test events in-house, in other words, in confined spaces with mass gatherings, without masks and without social distancing. And they're saying they're checking all the data, but it was all fine. So I think the only thing that's slightly taking people off the straight emergence is the Indian variant. And I think we'll get an idea in the next couple of weeks what the state of play is. And I think that's going to be pivotal. If we get the go-ahead on the 21st of June and the Indian variant isn't the problem people think it may be, then I think we're on our fast track back to recovery. So it's all still uncertain, but we're in a better place this summer. If you go back 12 months, we had no vaccines, we had nothing. 12 months on, 50% of the population is vaccinated. We're getting our second jabs coming up. By September, most of the people who attend my events will have had their second jabs. And so therefore, they're walking into an environment where everybody in the room, literally everybody in the room, will have been vaccinated with 2 jabs. And that gives you a sense of confidence. that we didn't have last summer. And last summer, that's when it all went wrong. So, a lot to play for. Yeah, two jabs. Yeah, most people have had. And of course, last summer, we had nothing.
Yes. 2 jabs. What do you say, Lakhi Singh? Have you got your jab?
Well, I've actually not had it yet, but I'm in the queue now waiting. Because I'm only 20, takes a long time to actually get on the queue.
Okay, so it's taking you time to get on the queue, but the point is, you will have your second jab soon, hopefully by the 21st of June, the first jab at least. And these 2 jabs is that the B end and the do all of it? So the 2 jabs will be dry, you're home dry, you're safe. You can then cough and sneeze as normal.
Well, I think what's not known, I think this is the bit that's missing at the moment, is out of the 3 vaccines, which is the best one to take really, because which one's going to be the most effective against the Indian variant. So as a short-term or medium-term risk is the current virus, but as a mid-term and a longer-term, long-term could be 3 weeks, it could be 6 months. If the Indian variant spreads, which is meant to be highly infectious, then questions are going to be how are we going to tackle that? And this is the point that Ninda's raising. And I think because the government's in a situation where once bitten, twice shy, I think the jury's sort of out in terms of which way things are going to go. There are sort of various rumors out where people from this country have had one of the vaccines, both jabs, been abroad, and they've literally passed away straight away. But those are rumors at the moment. There's no real stats on what's true, what's not, because
what I'm trying to work out is we're in the last few minutes. What does it mean by the Indian variant? I'm getting a bit confused. It's a virus. It's there across the world. Is there something in India that's different that's created the variant, or are people's sort of like their blood or their hormones different, and it creates a different type of variant? Why is it an Indian variant? I don't understand why it's a variant known for me. Why is it not mutated in America or in the UK or in Europe, and that new variant popped up? Why is it just popped up in India? Does anybody know? Can anybody enlighten me?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, if you want to have a bash first.
Bash first, please.
Go ahead, because I'm actually.
You're a bit more fresh than
I've decided not to get into too many technicalities with this. I haven't really kept up with all the news. I've just kept.
Right. Okay, sir. Linda, it's your play. Tell us why is it an Indian variant? Because I try to work that out. I thought, right, okay, you've got virus going around. You've got different people breathing the virus. They're being affected. The infection obviously mutates. But why would it not mutate in sunny Brazil? And why is it only in India? And why is it specific to India? Why is it, I get a bit confused because I'm a bit thick-skinned like that. Thick, not skinned. Thick like that when I try to work these things out. So do you know, Ninda, why is it an Indian variant? Is there something about Indian is it the metabolism? Is it something else? What's making an Indian variant quite unique to suppose someone in England catching it and they're a variant? And why was it a UK variant? Of what does that mean?
Well, firstly, a bit like Lakhi, I'm no scientist, but what I can tell you is that we've had the Kent variant, which is UK. We've had the Brazilian variant. We've had the South African variant. We now have the Indian variant. This is not simply just India. This is a variant could come from any country. And I'm no scientist, but they do say that with viruses, they can mutate and can change shape. And it just is just random. So we've had the Brazilian, we've had the South African, we've had our own Kent variant, and I'm sure over time other variants will emerge. But hopefully the science and technology will mean that not only will we anticipate it, but when it comes out, we track them, we trace them, and we wipe them out. And we do a lot of testing, and hopefully the NHS and the way it's structured will stay on top of it. And technology means we'll be able to find rapid vaccines for each one as it emerges. Look, the world has changed now. The world, we can't put the genie back in the bottle. You know, these things will always start to happen. We're in a global marketplace where we have mobility, where people can travel from country to country. This is always going to happen. It's probably been happening for generations. We've just never seen it on such a mass scale. So, yeah, we just need to anticipate and we'll always be ready for the next variant. And hopefully the science will always stay on top. And don't forget this, businesses pay taxes. The taxes is what funds the NHS. And that's where we get the medical care and the resilience that we've built in. And let's not also forget, it's the private sector, the pharmaceutical companies that take a risk, that pour in resources, that make sure that we get the vaccine. So the private sector business is central to the way we combat global health.
Okay, right, excellent. Last 2 minutes, Lakhi Singh, can we have your summary on that? Where do you see everything going?
2 pennies worth is that if I were the government, I think they are now they found 3,000 cases of the Indian variant. So that could technically, if it's meant to be, you know, a lot more infectious, quickly spread. So if I were the government, obviously I'm not, the way I would possibly fix the problem would be to just do a lockdown in those areas where those 3,000 people have been found. Because it's better to try and contain those towns and cities for another month or 2 months to stop its spread than for it to become a phenomena or a mass pandemic over time. So that's what I would do as a intuitive thought in terms of what may be a way of actually resolving a short-term action that could actually avoid a long-term problem.
Okay, well there you have it from Lakhi Singh. Spread it, a bit like Marmite, either you love it or hate it. The virus is going to be here with us for a while more, but the variants probably need to get locked down quickly. And Ninder Singh is already lined up for a hot new opening on his event in September in London. So the event hall is probably going to be heaving. So anybody want to go to the first event in Hilton? Is it booking online? Is it Ninder, or is it calling you?
We'll be setting everything up. We're just going to wait for another 10 days just to get guidance from the government, and then tickets will be
10
open.
days. Excellent. So waiting for guidance from government, and then you can book online and attend one of these events and rub shoulders with the rich and famous and the influencers. And if you've got an intention to start up a new business,
I was going to say they'll have an opportunity to meet superstars like you.
Right. Okay. With that, I feel so good about that. Okay. Right. Okay. So with that, we should beg leave. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Ninder Singh, sir, and Lakhi Singh. We shall see you again Monday next week on the Drive Time Live and the Alternative Business and Property Solutions community. We will be changing the format, so everyone please be looking out for the new banner. We'll be moving everything across to a new format. It will be slightly similar, but not exactly the same, but it will be moving across to some new pages and stuff. So do be looking out for the banner and move across to the new Facebook structures. So thank you so much, Ninder, sir, for your time. Lakhi Singh,